Audio test. Awesome. Thank you, Misha.
Good morning. This is the Board of Public Works meeting of Friday, February 16th. If you are on Zoom and wish to give public general comment or comment on any of our agenda items for our regular meeting, please press 6 to unmute and star 6 to unmute and star 9 to raise your hand, and we will get your information and call on you accordingly. Thank you. Goodbye. Good morning. Thank you again for joining us for the Board of Public Works meeting of February 16th. We will get started shortly, and if any members are joining us via Zoom and you would like to give public comment on general public comment or any of our agenda items, please press *6 to unmute and *9 to raise your hand, please. And if you are joining us in person, you may fill out a public comment card in the back of the room and bring that up to me. Thank you. Good morning, President Garcia. This is Tansy Cole with the Board of Public Works, and we have no general comment cards, and we have one speaker item on item number 4, who is with DWP, and no neighborhood council. And we are ready to be in record mode if you're ready.
Yes, please.
Go ahead and say good morning. Yeah.
Good morning. Again, this is Tansy Cole with the Board of Public Works. I will establish quorum. President Garcia, President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corsan is present. Commissioner Reyes is out on approved vacation, and we also have Thomas Castillo Vega joining us as the attorney representative.
Okay. Thank you for that, Tansy Cole. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Friday, February 16, 2024. Tansy Cole, Ms. Cole, you already established quorum. Do you mind doing that for the record?
Yes. Establishing quorum, we have President Garcia is president, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Corsan is present. Commissioner Reyes is out on approved vacation.
Okay, thank you for that. And Ms. Cole, you said we do not have any public comment, right? General public comments?
That's correct.
Okay, given that there are no public comments, general public comments now officially closed. Moving on to the first item in today's business, which is the approval of the minutes Friday, February 2nd, 2024. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, Commissioner Corsan. Ms. Cole, there's a first by me and a second by Commissioner Corsan to approve the minutes of Friday, February 2nd, 2024.
We'll tabulate the vote, starting with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Very well. Thank you for that, Ms. Cole. Good morning, everyone. Welcome for those of you that are here in person and those of you that are joining us via the Zoom platform. It is Friday. Yay. Friday before a long weekend, even better for us. So thank you for that. It is also a very nice day today. However, tomorrow and the days after, just get ready for some more rain and just protect yourselves, your pets, your family, and your properties, and we will make it through one more time. So with that said, I'm ready to start with item number 1. This is a request from the Bureau of Contract Administration in all council district for a task order solicitation, outreach, marketing, and engagement, including web-related services. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the Inspector of Public Works to issue the transmitted task order to outreach consultants on the Department of City Planning's Planning and Urban Design, Marketing and Strategic Communications, and Public Engagement bench. 2, authorize the Bureau of Contract Administration to evaluate the pre-qualified respondents based upon the requirements and procedures set forth in the task order. And 3, direct the Inspector of Public Works to report back to the Board of Public Works with his recommendations on retaining the BCA selected contractor to complete these services. And this morning here, we have Mr. Yerik. Oh, Yerik?
Keshishan.
Oh, your last name, you're going to kill me. Yerik. Mr. Yerik.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yeri Keshishan with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Get it right.
We are here today to request board approval for the Inspector of Public Works to issue a task order solicitation, or TOS, to engage an outreach consultant. The consultant will be, as you heard, from the Department of City Planning's Planning and Urban Design, Marketing and Strategic Communications, and Public Engagement bench. From this established citywide on-call list of consultants, BCA is seeking to retain professional expertise to guide us in putting together an outreach marketing plan, one that is centered around inclusive outreach and aimed at both enhancing as well as expanding the Bureau's engagement with its many customers and core stakeholders, with a particular focus on serving the underrepresented communities, working closely with BCA, plus business and worker-focused organizations. In essence, this is a rebranding initiative that will help us externally connect more broadly with our constituency and to make government more accessible. And with this rebranding initiative, we intend to conduct an inward assessment of how our organization's work model and resources are allocated, by which we can become more nimble, responsive, and effective in our delivery of core services, as well as equitable in how we reallocate and integrate those resources across our many divisions, from our work with certifications to labor compliance, as well as inspections. Included within the TOS is a request to also update our website to achieve a central repository for BCA-related information, which will consolidate 3 independent sites, Wages LA, Accessing LA, and BCA into one, to establish a singular online presence that would be easy for the public to reference, and to provide access to culturally sensitive, community-based services, utilizing new digital platforms to take in relevant documentation while supporting translation services to reflect the diverse composition of our city. In addition, BCA's new website would support the Bureau's larger objectives by laying the groundwork for self-service portal like e-submittal capabilities, even possibly allowing the initiation of online inspections and wage-related complaints, plus business certification requests, not to mention supporting the automation of forms and applications. Within the TOS is a detailed description of the full project scope. It's important to note that the Department of City Planning's existing bench is set to expire on April 4th. For that reason, we are here to seek approval to essentially post the TOS on Monday, February 26th. So we are eligible to allow pre-qualified consultants, for them essentially 3 weeks to prepare their proposals, to then have adequately time to come back essentially March 27th before this board with our recommendation. With that, I will answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric, for your very thorough report. And I just want to acknowledge that this is your first time presenting to the board.
Yes, thank you.
And welcome to Bureau of Contract Administration, but welcome to the Public Works family.
Thank you very much.
So we're excited to have you here, and yet you already come giving us orders here. So I just want to say we are, just to confirm and for the record, we are utilizing Department of City Planning's task order outreach consultants list, correct?
Correct. We're using City Planning's RFP, the request for proposals, that is established, and from there looking to retain an individual or consultant that we, BCA, would enter into a contract with.
Okay. And I know that you're very thorough in all of this, so I imagine you've already, talked to planning and made all those adjustments, correct?
Correct. We received their formal approval to utilize their bench.
Okay, I understood. Thank you. Any questions, colleagues? I see VP and Dr. Davis, Vice President Villegas. Okay.
Thank you, and thank you for your report. Just wanting to see if you can elaborate just a little bit on funding. I know you're going to be issuing this, but wanting to see a little bit more information just on how this is going to be funded.
Absolutely. We have contractual funds available, and for that reason, we would be seeking to encumber those funds to cover the cost of this contract. And this contract the life of it would be for over a year to afford us adequate time to essentially develop this campaign.
Okay. If you could just provide a little bit more information. What kind of funds are those? What's the time frame? What's the limit?
Absolutely. So the way the TOS is drafted, the maximum would be upwards of $450,000. We are not beholden to that amount. That is the max that we had crafted. We do have, as I mentioned, for the last few years, contractual dollars allocated to us by the City Council to specifically help with our engagement. So it's from those pot of funds that we would be drawing. As for the life of the contract, it's drafted in a way to afford us greater timelines. So through Q4 of 2025, essentially, to complete both of these initiatives.
All right, and I don't see the list from planning on here. Was it a part of the transmittals? Because I looked through
The
63.
RFQ should have been transmitted.
I see 63 pages of all the transmittals, but I don't see a list of who the companies are.
We can certainly provide that to you.
Okay, and just for next
Of
time,
course.
just for public transparency, if it can be included on the record.
Of course.
Okay. I appreciate that. You know, we don't get a lot of these that our bureaus go outside of our own Board of Public Works and borrow from other departments, their list. I know it's still common, but we don't get a lot of them. That's just a comment on my end.
Sure.
Thank you. So, and by the way, you are, just so that I understand correctly, you're using planning's list, is that correct?
Yes.
And did the Bureau or the Board of Public Works, we didn't have a list that would be suffice to BCA?
There aren't many lists of individuals that do this type of work across the city. It's been expanding with others like Streets LA and City Planning embarking on these types of professional services. We did look internally before we actually even pursued this avenue.
You did not ask the other bureaus within Board of Public Works?
We did. We've
You
been
did?
speaking to them, yes, informally, just to see, and to also let the PAO know
Okay.
that we are embarking
All
upon
right.
this.
And then without seeing the list, how many are on there?
I believe there are about 30 plus
Firms?
firms or
Okay.
consultants.
All right, and do you know when that list expires?
This whole bench expires on April 4th, which is why we are here today, essentially to get the approval, award a consultant, and then working with city planning, essentially take that contract to city council for an amendment to extend the life of it.
Oh, to extend the life of the...
It would be with this consultant that essentially you all approve us to move forward with. That one consultant, it won't be an extension for the entire bench. It will be essentially an extension for us to retain that consultant.
Do you know who you want?
No. I mean,
Okay.
the whole point is to craft the project scope broad, but
Yeah, I mean,
specific.
you said the words like that one consultant, and that inferred to me that you already knew who you
No,
wanted.
it's just
Okay.
when we come back March 27th with our formal recommendation, it would be that one or a group of
Whoever
individuals.
selected.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions? You know, this brings me to the conversation that the Vice President and I have had many times, is to really have a inventory of all of our on-call lists, because if we do not have something, I'm surprised we don't have something like this. Usually the Board of Public Works, by now, we've kind of touched every point, and so I'm surprised that we didn't have something like this. But just for my clarification, this task is going to upgrade your website?
It would. We're looking to consolidate the websites into one. One of the feedbacks we've heard from some community groups are sometimes hard to know where to navigate for, let's say, Wages LA for wage theft related information
Okay.
versus BCA for certs. And one of the things we want to explore with this board in particular are what are ways to make it easier specifically to underserved communities. How do we have our 18 certifications listed in a very simplified manner where using almost automation, you're able to type, I am a woman-owned or minority-owned business, what's eligible out there, and to help funnel that information. So that's the type of work we're looking to really provide to the community.
In addition, I would also suggest that if, I'm sure you guys have thought about it, but if I want to make sure that there is a person on the other end of the website once it gets created and people are interacting with it, I would like to see an assigned person to answer all those client questions, because at this time, if I needed to send somebody something, I kind of just go through our AD, which is probably not the best person, and she has to funnel it down. But that's where I'm at. So my suggestion and my strong recommendation is that once this is all completed and it's great and it's interactive and we have all that great stuff happening, that there is somebody in the back end always making sure that they reply back to the clients.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And you said $450,000 is the max?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I don't see any other questions from anyone. Any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Ms. Cole, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
We will tabulate the vote beginning with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. And good job on your first presentation, Yerik. Moving on to item number 2, this is a request from the Bureau of Engineering for Council Districts 2 and 6. Task order solicitation number ED 21-30. Rincon Consultants, Inc., pre-qualified on-call consultants list, Lancashire Boulevard Local Area Urban Flow Management Network Project. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Rincon Consultants, Inc., from the pre-qualified on-call list for environmental documentation consultant service list to provide environmental documentation services for the Lancashire Boulevard Local Area Urban Flow Management Network Project, as stated in task order ED 21030, with a budget authority of $550,000, including contingency. And this morning we have here, give me 1 second. I want to make sure I get your name right. It is Jan?
Lauren Rhodes.
Lauren, Ms. Rhodes, got it. Thank you. I saw Brian Powell, and I'm like, that's not Brian. But Brian is here. All right. Good morning. Welcome, Ms. Rhodes. Good to have you here.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is, again, Lauren Rhodes, Environmental Supervisor with the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Management Group. I'm the Environmental Project Manager for this subject project. I'm also joined today by Dr. Jan Green-Rebstock. She's our Environmental Affairs Officer with the Bureau of Engineering. As you read into the record, we are asking the board to authorize the issuance of task order solicitation ED 21-030 to Rincon Consultants to provide the environmental documentation services for the Lancashire Boulevard Local Area Urban Flow Management Network project with a budget authority of $550,000, including contingency. This project is part of the Measure W Safe Clean Water program. The scope of work for the project includes a new stormwater conveyance system, stormwater infiltration, and landscaping along a 1.5-mile segment of Lancashire Boulevard in the Sun Valley neighborhood of the city of Los Angeles. The project aims to improve the city's water quality by capturing and infiltrating stormwater to target an 80% load reduction for the primary pollutant, which is zinc, from the 402-acre tributary area in the San Fernando Groundwater Basin Aquifer, which is underlying the project site. The proposed project will install approximately 8,000 linear feet of storm drain mainline in the center of Lancashire Boulevard. The project also includes green street elements consisting of the installation of 315 street trees, 232 parkway infiltration planters, and 15 vegetated median islands. The project includes 14 dry well systems with 110 total dry wells, most of which are located off of Lancashire Boulevard on local cross streets. The flow would be captured from the existing curb and gutter system into 33 new catch basins on Lancashire Boulevard. The project would require street tree removal. There are currently 123 existing street trees within the project boundaries, none of which are protected species. The street tree removal is needed to make the storm drain and curb catch basin improvements. We anticipate right now about 20 to 30 street trees will be needed to remove, but we'll know more once we advance in the design phase and once we are able to assess the health of the existing trees. So this specific task order solicitation is needed for the environmental review and documentation in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. It will commence with the preparation of an initial study, which will determine the scope of the environmental documentation to either an initial study mitigated negative declaration or a focused draft environmental impact report. Right now, the technical studies will focus on air quality and greenhouse gas emissions, biological resources, cultural resources, hazards and hazardous materials, hydrology and water quality, noise and vibration, and lastly, transportation impacts. Since the project is located next to so many sensitive receptors like schools, health centers, and residences, The noise study is needed to determine what measures need to be put in place in order to protect those sensitive receptors from the construction noise. Additionally, the project is located within the boundaries of the San Fernando Valley Superfund site that is currently undergoing groundwater remediation. The hydrology and water quality study will include an evaluation of the potential proposed project to affect the existing groundwater contamination associated with the Superfund site because of the increased percolation of the project. We will also be going through a public outreach phase. Currently, the design team has been conducting public outreach in the local community by tabling at local community events, providing fact sheets and mailers. They've also engaged with Council District 2 and 6, and they have both been very supportive of the project. As part of the CEQA review, however, we will also conduct a public meeting and we'll have a public comment period on the draft environmental document. There has been a request to make interpretation in Spanish and Armenian, and that the CEQA outreach will also incorporate that.
Okay.
The approved CEQA document will be determined by the outcome of the initial study and the technical studies. Thus, in this task order solicitation and the proposal by Rincon, we have preserved both the option of going for a mitigated negative declaration or a focused environmental impact report. Rincon is needed to prepare the environmental documentation for CEQA compliance, since the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Management Group does not have the technical expertise to perform the work or related to the required technical studies. For this task order solicitation, we did receive 4 proposals, and we determined that Rincon would be the best value for the city and would meet the project schedule. The project is funded by Measure W Safe Clean Water Regional Project Fund, and it is also subject to the Business Inclusion Program requirements. Rincon is pledging above participation for all of the business and enterprise participation levels except for the minority business enterprise as well as the disabled veterans enterprise. We have identified on Rincon's contract that they do have services that would support those. However, we're not able to use those for this specific task order. Rincon will hopefully be able to meet the city's anticipated participation levels on future projects. We have also added 2 new women-owned business enterprises, Todd Groundwater as well as Catherine Padilla and Associates, to this contract in order to meet the women-owned business enterprise and to support the environmental documentation for the groundwater survey as well as the transportation survey. I'm joined today by Brian Powell, who is the project manager. And if you have any project-related questions, I'm sure he's able to answer those, as well as Jan and I are here to answer any CEQA-related questions.
Thank you so much for your very, very thorough report, Ms. Rhodes. I appreciate that. Any questions, colleagues? I see Dr. Davis and VPV, Dr. Davis.
So we have any idea about the time period in terms of, I know that there are a lot of recommendations that we expect from Rincon, but do we have any estimated time period for the project, for the work that is to be done?
The design phase is anticipated to end in 2025? Yeah. And the environmental documentation will take approximately 12 to 18 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the construction is estimated to last about 2.5 years,
I see.
going from October 2025, ending in February 2028, I'm sorry.
Okay. And Rincon will help us to navigate all of the requirements that we have to comply with from state law on these projects. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. They will help us with the CEQA compliance.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. You said that that Rincon did not meet the minority business owner pledge, right? Are they a minority business owned entity?
Rincon, as a prime, they may be, but I don't think that plays into the business inclusion program, whether they can claim that as part of their,
Correct. I just wanted to know because they didn't meet it, and I think we are saying okay to that. How far away was their goal?
so for the minority business enterprise, they are pledging at 2.48%, and I believe the goal is 8%.
Yeah, they're fairly down there. Okay, but we were okay with this because
They've exceeded the goals for the women-owned business enterprise, as well as the small business enterprise, as well as the emerging business enterprises.
okay. It's also a very relatively small contract, to the extent that we go to, $550,000, but nevertheless, okay. All right, any questions, colleagues? And on going back, maybe Mr. Powell can give us just a quick timeline of the project, and have we started anything yet?
Good morning, Brian Powell from the Bureau of Engineering Clean Water Division. And yes, absolutely, we have started the project. We were actually here last year for the award of TOS 58 for the Lancashire project, and that was off of the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental list. Since then, we've completed pre-design in December, and we issued our notice to proceed to CDM Smith for the design phase. So we're about 2 months into design.
2 months into the design?
Correct. So from this point, our design and our environmental documentation will run in parallel. And when they complete their studies and their environmental documentation, that will inform the design for any mitigation measures that the project will need to incorporate based on their studies.
Okay,
And design is scheduled to wrap up in April of 2025.
a year from now, basically?
Yeah,
Okay,
14 months from now.
that's a pretty good timeline, by the way. I like how they're getting shorter.
Yeah, it's a big project. It's
Yeah.
a mile and a half. So, yeah,
A mile and a half?
a mile and a half of green shell.
Yeah, that is pretty big.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. I'm pretty satisfied. Vice President Villegas?
Just a minor question, you know, as this design is being done, I know that Streets LA applied for this funding from the Safe Clean Water Program. How closely are the bureaus all working together?
So this is a Bureau of Sanitation Measure W project.
Okay.
We do work with the Bureau of Street Services in terms of having our designs plan checked, especially when it comes to all the work in the sidewalks and any impacts to trees for the urban forestry. So they're not involved in terms of at the project management and design level, but they do review our plans and they do review the project.
Thank you, thanks. We look at so many projects, I forget which one, and especially when they're like greening projects on our like streets, I always think that's Streets LA. So thank you for that clarification. And then thanks for working with Streets LA. Just on I see we have like a little over 200 trees that will be
Yes.
planted in this area. So that's good. Thank you.
I don't think you were alone. I also thought it was other one infrastructure project, and then I thought, no, this is so. I was also on the same boat as Vice President Villegas. But I'm pretty clear now where we're at, and glad the Bureau of Engineering is here doing this. Okay, any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Ms. Cole, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
We'll tabulate the vote, beginning with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, item number 2 is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cole. Thank you so much to all the BOE team for being here this morning and doing such fantastic work out there. Moving on to item number 3, this is a request in Council District 13 for a construction budget and revised construction orders. Clark Contracting Corp., Fletcher Drive, 2600 block project on the on-call emergency sewer and storm drain repairs contract. Recommending the board to 1, authorize a construction budget of $4,725,000, including contingency for the emergency sewer repair Fletcher Drive project. And 2, authorize the city engineer to issue revised construction orders up to the authorized construction budget for the project to Clark Contracting Corp. And this morning, we're joined by Mr. Guerrero here, who will do the presentation. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. Christian Guerrero with the Emergency Sewer Repair Program, Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division. So, yes, I'm here to present on the board report that is requesting approval for a construction budget of $4,725,000, including contingency, and authorize city engineer to issue revised construction orders up to that authorized budget for the emergency sewer repair Fletcher Drive 2600 block project. LE Sanitation issued an emergency request on February 28, 2023 for a sanitary sewer overflow that occurred on that same day due to a collapse in the 15-inch sewer main joining the North Alpha sewer on Fletcher Drive adjacent to the LA River, and this is shown on Figure 1 in the board report. The initial emergency response by Clark Contracting Corp., which was the next on-call contractor, consisted of installing a temporary bypass system in order to alleviate the spill. And then once this bypass was installed by the contractor, they were directed to CCTV the line. This was attempted from the upstream maintenance hole on the reach on Fletcher Drive, but the inspection was not successful due to the amount of debris encountered in the line, so we did not get a full video of the pipe condition. Just so you guys know the background on this pipe, it's a 15-inch circular concrete pipe with severe heavy corrosion, and it is approximately 30 feet deep in the ground, so it's a very deep sewer. And it was built in 1926, so it's approximately 98-year-old pipe in the ground there. The plan was to locate the pipe damage, the collapse, via the CCTV and do a spot repair, and then alleviate the flow in the line so we can remove the bypass and then CCTV the entire line, assess the entire condition and see what we have there, if we need to replace the entire pipe, just a portion of the pipe, so on and so forth. So because we couldn't get a full video from the upstream due to all the debris that had built up in the line, we attempted to go from the downstream end of the pipe and go that route. Unfortunately, because that downstream maintenance hole is connected to the North Alpha sewer, which is a major sewer line, the maintenance hole does not have a base. So to have an idea, you have the surface, the maintenance hole shaft drops right onto the NOS sewer, and our 15-inch line also feeds in there. So there's no bottom. The camera would just fall right into the NOS. So what we did was we dropped the pole camera down from the surface to point into our sewer. And when we did that, we were able to see about a few feet away from that location, a collapse. Just nothing but soil and debris. So we said, we know we have a collapse at that spot. So we directed the contractor to excavate there. They started excavating shore at that location and to expose this pipe at that spot. And they started encountering large sinkholes in the soil. That's probably due to the fact that the sewer collapsed and then soil collapsed above it. And we found voids in the soil. So it slowed down the excavation a bit because the contractor has to be more careful now that the soil's not stable when he installs his shoring, so on and so forth. We also then encountered unmarked utilities, unknown utilities that were in that same location, again, hindering the excavation a little bit. And we also encountered electrical conduits. The problem with those was that it was not going to allow us to do a full removal and replacement at that spot. We were going to have to tunnel under these conduits to get to the sewer line. Even so, we were able to do that and get to the collapse. And in Figure 3, we show some photos of what we found when we attempted to clean the debris in the sewer at that location. Every time we attempted to clean debris so we can potentially get a clear line to video, we kept encountering debris. And we feel it's because of the deterioration of this concrete pipe that every time we would jet to clean this debris, the pipe would deteriorate more. So at that point, we decided, you know what, let's get emergency authorization, which we requested from the commissioner. And when we encountered these issues, and that's one of the transmittals submitted in the board report, and we decided that we're going to have to remove and replace the entire pipe. So the scope became replacing the entire 320 linear feet of 15-inch concrete pipe. 60 linear feet of that pipe was replaced with 15-inch HDPE pipe, which is a plastic material. And the reason we did that is because at that location where the electrical conduits and utilities were, we had to tunnel. This pipe is one segment pipe. It's not pieces that we connect. It's one continuous piece, which we're able to put under the utilities and drag it in. So we're able to drag it in and get it in there. That was for about 60 feet. We then, the remaining 200, I believe it was 260 feet, are VCP clay pipe, because we were able to do that by normal trench methods the rest of the way. And we also decided to install 2 intermediate maintenance holes because the upstream maintenance hole was also near a freeway off-ramp. It's difficult to go in and do maintenance on the pipe because of the freeway. We decided we're already there. We have 2 different types of new materials now that we're connecting. Let's put new maintenance holes there. It'll be easier for LA Sanitation to come and do maintenance on this pipe away from the freeway on-ramp. And because the downstream maintenance hole that's on the NOS is really not accessible to them for maintenance, now they have other access points. So in the future, we'll have these access points now available to inspect this pipe and do maintenance in the future, now that we're excavating there anyway. So that entire scope was completed on August 22nd of last year. And due to the bigger scope and the potential higher costs, the project was bid out to the ESR bidding contractors, and Clark Contracting Corp was the low bidder at $2,953,380. And we added contingency of $225,000, and also accounting for the previous emergency response they did to respond to the emergency and do the initial exploration to figure out what we're going to do. That amount came to $1,546,620,000. So that brings the total requested budget for this project to be $4,725,000. And that concludes my presentation, and I'll answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guerrero, for your presentation, but also for, I know that engineering talk is different than normal talk, and so I just want to commend you for taking such a complicated and complex project and really dicing it out for us so that it's very understandable. You were very thorough, so thank you for that. I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Second, I know that this is a 1926-year-old sewer there, so I don't imagine back then they were thinking of, 100 years from now that the repair and how we would be able to do maintenance or how hard it was, how hard it would be now.
Unfortunately, back then, I don't think it was known how concrete badly corrodes with sewer gases. I think that's why pipes back in those days were built out of concrete. And as you know, now we don't. Bigger sewers are built out of concrete because they don't make materials that size, but they are lined with protective liners so that the gases don't corrode them in the future. But back in those times, I mean, they probably didn't know.
I'm with you. But now we're being very mindful from 100 years from now, right?
Oh, yeah. The plastic HDPE does not corrode. The BCP, which is clay pipe, does not corrode either. So those pipes structurally are as good as the concrete pipes, and they don't corrode. So those will last 100 years. I mean, as long as you don't have an earthquake or settlement or something that breaks them, they should last at least 100 years.
100 years.
Fine, at least, yeah.
So in 100 years, a whole set of new commissioners should be making this decision. Got it. Okay.
Or hopefully not. It might last even longer.
We'll be here. Dr. Davis said we'll be here, so. Well, I expect you to be here presenting too. All right. Any questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Any objections? You were very thorough. I think we got everything we needed to know. My questions were like what type of material we're going to use, and you answered all of that.
And that's my attempt to make sure you guys understand it, and that's why this is a very complicated project.
It is.
And for our emergency response engineers, we were communicating throughout this whole process, and I always want to make it so you guys as easy as you guys can understand it, because it can be very complicated if I don't explain every detail,
No, I appreciate that, because it's not just us, but the public. Everybody else is listening, and so we want to make sure that the public understands where we're using their tax dollars and how important this project was. So my last question: have you completed this work already?
Yes.
Okay.
August 22nd.
So you're pretty much just authorizing a contingency, and then you'll close out this project?
Yep. Exactly. We received the emergency authority because we knew what we were getting into so that we can get the contractor going. Like I said, it was a spill. It's being bypassed every day. We needed to make sure that we keep it moving.
Okay.
So
Okay. Understood. I'm comfortable with this item. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Ms. Cole, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 3 forward and forthwith.
We'll tabulate the vote, beginning with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
Item number 3 is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guerrero. Have a good weekend.
thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. All right, moving on to item number 4. This is a joint report by the Bureau of Sanitation and the Bureau of Contract Administration in Council District 6. This is a request for proposals, RFP, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the Director of Bureau of Sanitation to, 1, advertise the submitted RFP for the design and engineering, construction, and startup advanced water equalization basins for up to 8 million gallons at the Donald C. Tillman Water Plant Reclamation. 2, evaluate the proposals and select the best qualified design-build entity whose proposal is most advantageous to the city based on established evaluation criteria set forth in the RFP. And 3, negotiate a contract with the selected design-build entity for the engineering phase of the project. And 4, return to the Board of Public Works for authority to award and execute the contract. And this morning here, we have Mr. Vargas?
Yes.
From the Department of Water and Power, who wants to say a few words, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Good
So
morning.
I'm just going to make it clear.
Sure.
So we're not taking this as a public comment, just FYI, because he's an interest party, and you are not subject to a 2-minute
Okay.
time.
I am less than 2 minutes. I time myself,
Okay.
so I'm good. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, honorable commissioners and team. Thanks for the opportunity to provide some opening remarks for item number 4 in front of you. My name is Gabriel Vargas. I'm the manager of the Recycled Water Program at LADWP, and I'm here to show our support and thank you for your consideration for item number 4. It's the RFP for the equalization basins at the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant. And so we have been working day and night with LA San. It's a very collaborative project. We are working and progressing towards reaching our goal of developing a highly purified water to recharge the San Fernando groundwater basin. We're going to be producing enough water to serve over 250,000 Angelinos in the city. We're super excited to be here today and to show our support for LA San. We fully support this project, and we just wanted to thank the Mayor's Office, the City Council, LADWP Board, and Public Works Board for your ongoing support and your leadership. And with that, I wanted to yield to Mr. Richard Sutherland. He will be discussing further. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vargas. I just want to thank you for, 1, being here, 2, for 2, supporting the project, and 2, for being such a collaborative partner on this. My understanding, and I'll hear from Mr. Sutherland when he does his presentation, is that DWP has contributed some funds to this as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that also. And given the last rain that fell, it is even much more important to construct this, because as we saw in 2 days, I think we had an enormous amount of water coming just in 2 days of the year. So I look forward to getting this project completed and be able to save as much water as we can.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We captured nearly 9 billion gallons of water last week, or the 2 weeks ago in the last storm. And then this project will, when it's not raining, will still be able to recharge the groundwater throughout the year. So it's an awesome drought resilient water source, a new local supply for the city.
Correct. I love that. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Vargas. All right, Mr. Sutherland, you're up next. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm happy to be here today to request authority from the Board of Public Works to advertise the request for proposal for the design, construction, and startup of the Advanced Water Equalization Basins, or AWEB, as we like to call it. This project is the second of more to come for the city's groundwater replenishment program. This program represents a partnership between the city's Bureau of Sanitation, LA Sanitation and Environment, and the Department of Water and Power to source and establish a local, sustainable water supply for the Angelinos. This partnership was pioneered at LA Sands Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant, where an advanced water facility with a capacity of up to 12 million gallons a day was constructed. The groundwater replenishment program will strengthen this partnership with another advanced water facility at the Donald C. Tillman plant with a treatment maximum capacity of up to 30 million gallons a day. Turning to this project and why I'm here today, these advanced water equalization basins must be constructed in order to achieve the optimal treatment capacity for the advanced water purification facility at the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant. DCT, as with other wastewater treatment facilities, experience diurnal flow fluctuations. For example, during daytime when residents are active using sinks, showering, flushing toilets, DCT receives a lot of flow. During the nighttime, the flow is minimal. The advanced water treatment requires a constant and stable flow throughout the day, and as a result, we need to construct these equalization basins. The Keystone Project, the AWPF, the design was initiated in February of last year and will reach 70% design this summer and seek to transition into the construction phase for the project. This AWEB project must be constructed prior to the startup of the AWPF to ensure the AWPF is properly commissioned. Therefore, the design build delivery method was selected because of time is of the essence, and this method can provide an accelerated design and construction with industry experts. This project will be subject to the city's business inclusion program as allowed by the WIFIA loan program and will provide opportunities for disadvantaged business participation. I appreciate your time and consideration and respectfully request for your authorization to advertise this RFP. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. There's a lot happening at the Tillman plant right now.
That's right.
Good things. Any questions? I see Vice President Villegas and Dr. Davis. VP?
Oh, thank you, and thanks for your report, and thank you to Department of Water and Power also for being here today. If you can just go through kind of like a timeline that you're expecting to undertake this effort. This is just the RFP, so that we're at the beginning here. And then soon after you get the proposals, how long will that take?
We're hoping and expecting to turn this around in 2 months' time. So I'll be back here in about 2 months' time to evaluate proposals or select a bidder for award to move into the design phase.
Okay. And so the RFPs or the solicitations that you'll be receiving will be both design and construction.
Right.
So private firms will be partnering when they submit their RFP.
They can be like there are different firms that maybe they do it all in-house, and some of them do it as a joint venture. So we'll get a mixed bag.
Okay. And if you can just review, just for the public's edification, we're doing a lot of work at Donald C. Tillman. So what is the other projects that we have going on right now?
So we have the Advanced Water Purification Facility, which is the Keystone Project, which is in design and expecting to move into construction this summer. We have other projects for the rehabilitation of the existing infrastructure of the plant, which is replacing gates for the influent sewers to ensure that we can divert the maximum amount of flow to the plant. We also have our Japanese garden at the Donald C. Tillman plant, and we're seeking an environmental process to recycle some of that flow. And so we're in the middle of that. And once we receive our environmental approvals, we'll construct another project to allow us to recycle even more water at the plant. And then there is this project so that we can store more flow and equalize the flow. In the future horizon, there's stuff like groundwater injection wells to ensure that we're maximizing our ability to recharge the groundwater.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then I know it didn't say here just like a cost or anything, but do you have a range?
Yeah, the total project cost, which includes design services as well as construction services, is estimated at $135 million, and the construction cost is estimated at $110 million.
Okay, so about $250 million.
Including like soft costs of management,
Yeah,
something like that. Yes,
with
that's true.
design and construction and soft costs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Davis?
Yeah, I think some of my questions were answered, but in general, you mentioned that the design bill will allow us to save time on the project. What's the ballpark figure of time we would save in design build versus our traditional?
I think you cut about a year to 18 months just because you bypassed the bid and award phase. And then kind of the secondhand benefits of that are the risk that gets kind of shifted to the design builder as opposed to when the city does a design aspect, we have a lot of that risk, right? And so we issue a lot of change orders. So that's a cost perspective. But from the time perspective, the bid and award is a year to 18 months, I think we save.
Vice President Villegas?
And thank you. Just a quick question for my understanding. You do not need well, this is just for a RFP, but the Bureau doesn't need a motion or any other ordinance to do a design build?
So we do.
Okay.
At the time that we select the bidder, we will have an ordinance that has been adopted by the city council to use an alternative delivery method, which is a design build method. So we currently in the transmittals have the draft from the, I'm sorry, not the draft, the motion from the city council for the city attorney to draft the ordinance. And I think actually this past Tuesday, it went before the council and got adopted, that ordinance. But we just weren't sure where that time was going to line up. So when we award the contract, that ordinance will be in place, which will allow us to use this
Got
alternative
it.
delivery method.
Okay. So there's already, I see it. Thank you for pointing that out. There's already a motion that will allow you to be able to do that other delivery of this work.
That's correct.
Okay, and by the time you issue the group or the companies or the best proposals, an ordinance will be drafted by the city attorney.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. And that is all. Thank you. One
Yeah,
more.
yeah, please.
Sorry, and this got me on another. If we have this motion, will that only, as I'm reading it right now, it will only pertain to DC Tillman?
So, yes, it's per project. I think the motion that's being drafted, my understanding is it does open the door for the groundwater replenishment program as a whole. So that's specific to DCT and specific to the groundwater replenishment program. So if there were future design build projects, it might be covered under that ordinance.
Okay, specific for groundwater.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just thinking about our Safe Clean Water program under LA Sanitation that's going through something similar.
I see. Yeah, it wouldn't fall under that one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this motion is just for the any groundwater projects?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the advantage of going to the design build, correct me if I'm wrong, it is because this is such a complex, new type of project that we're pretty much for the first time bringing to the city. It requires, we want to make sure that the design and the construction go hand in hand.
That's correct.
Okay.
Advanced Water has a lot of technology that's new per se, and so we don't have that expertise yet, and so we're relying on industry experts.
Got it. So right now, we don't have we're just about to release the RFP.
That's correct.
And then you will come back to the board once it's awarded?
Once we're prepared to make a recommendation to
Got it,
award, yeah.
got it, okay. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Colleagues, any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 4 forward and forthwith?
So move.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Ms. Cole, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 4 forward and forthwith. You're already sitting down. We haven't even closed your item. What if we say no?
We'll tabulate the vote, beginning with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 4 is adopted and carries forthwith.
Now you can go. Thank you very much, Mr. Sutherland. Got to make sure you're as the other folks as well. All right, moving on to item number 5. This is a request in Council District 15. This is Bureau of Engineering as well. Revised task order solicitation, Geosyntec Consultants recommending the board to, 1, authorize the adjustment of funding for task order 62 for pre-design, design, bid and award support and design services during construction by Geosyntec as follows. In total, of the chart that I have with the different funding streams, I have $1,680,755 as the total amount, broken down by Measure W, Safe Clean Water Program Fund, and I'm going to leave the rest to you now. Mr. Powell.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all again. My name is Brian Powell. I'm from the Clean Water Division with the Bureau of Engineering. I'm here with a motion to simply just revise a funding table for our project, but to
I
provide
see.
a bit of background first. Back on November 23rd of 2022, this board awarded task order solicitation number 62 to Geosyntec Consultants from the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental engineering on-call list. And that is to provide pre-design, design, bid and award support and design services during construction for the Wilmington Neighborhood Greening Project, which is a Measure W project in collaboration with the Bureau of Sanitation. The total awarded amount was for $1,680,000, and we're here today to request that we replace $513,355 from the funding table out of that total of $1.68 million with we'd like to replace $513,000 of Measure W regional program funding with the same amount of Measure W municipal program funding. And the reason for that is this project was receiving a total of $12.2 million from the Measure W regional program, split into 5 years. They're receiving $660,000 in year 1, $505,000 in year 2, $3.4 million in year 3, $4.8 million in year 4, and $2.8 million in year 5. The contract that we awarded is for $1,680,000, and it happens that the year 3 funding is, was not going to show up on time from the county because in order to receive the year 3 funding, we need to finish design and we need to finish the CEQA documentation, the environmental review. I think that was a detail that wasn't quite fully understood at the time. This is one of the first Measure W projects. So in order to complete, to provide a sufficient funding to complete the design of the project, the Bureau of Sanitation has identified $513,000 from their Measure W municipal program, which they control the funding of. So we would simply like to replace the regional program funding with the municipal program funding to complete design of the project. With that, that's the end of my oral report, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Powell, for that report. Any questions, colleagues? Okay, pretty clear. We're just substituting one fund for another fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any questions on this either. All right, is there a motion on the table to move item number 5 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Ms. Cole, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 5 forward and forthwith.
We'll tabulate the vote beginning with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
All ayes, item number 5 is adopted and carries forthwith.
Very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Powell. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 6, this is a request in Council District 4 for a revised task order solicitation number 51 to AECom Technical Service, Inc., recommending the board to, 1, approve the revision of the funding for task order 51 to include the additional funding from the Capital and Technology Improvement Expenditure Program. And I have a table here as well, totaling up for $10 million, and I will, Mr. Arrington, I had you here. Good morning, and we will hear from our, are you Mr. So?
Yes.
Oh, good to meet you, sir. Okay, Mr. So, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Daniel Siao from the Bureau of Engineering Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division. The item before you is a motion to revise the funding for task for solicitation number 1 to include additional funding from the Capital and Technology Improvement Expenditure Program. Task for solicitation number 51 was awarded to AECom on January 27th, 2023 by this board with a budget authority of $10 million to provide sewer engineering services. On September 8th, 2023, the board adopted a motion to include a second funding source for task for solicitation number 51 in the amount of $57,408 from the Capital and Technology Improvement Expenditure Program in the city's 2023 to 24 adopted budget. This funding was for the design of a crosswalk near the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 35 project within Council District 4. For the record, the board motion was amended to include the following language, which is the crosswalk was removed by LADOT at the intersection of Magnolia Boulevard and Lamona Avenue due to safety concerns. Council District 4 requested that the crosswalk be restored with additional safety measures and be added to the sewer rehabilitation project. After further investigation, the restoration of the crosswalk requires the reconstruction of the southwest curb ramp at the intersection to comply with the American with Disabilities Act guidelines. Council District 4 requested that additional funding in the amount of $10,000 be identified for design services of the curb ramp. The Office of the City Administrative Officer has identified the transfer of an additional $10,000 to the Capital and Technology Improvement Expenditure Program fund for the design of the curb ramp. Therefore, the request is to approve revising the funding for task for solicitation number 51 to include additional funding in the amount of $10,000. That concludes my presentations. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them.
Thank you for that, Mr. So just for my clarity, we are here today to add the $10,000
Correct.
with a total amount of $10 million for the project.
10 million was for the task force solicitation number 51, but that does not change. That was the ceiling that was approved back in January 27, 2023. But that $10 million ceiling amount does not change.
Okay. And with the $10,000, that is to build an access ramp?
Curb ramp, correct.
Curb ramp. And will the crosswalk traffic light be put back on?
Say it again? Could you repeat?
I think it was a crosswalk, right? Was it a
Yes.
traffic light as well?
The crosswalk will be restored using for the design. We'll be using $57,408. That was previously approved in September 2023.
Okay. I think I'm a little clear, but commissioners? No questions. I was the only one that had questions. Okay, so therefore, we're just here today to accept the $10,000.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, we accept money. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table? Oh, Vice President Villegas,
Point
sorry
of
about that.
clarification. We did get an amended motion with the,
Correct, yes.
yeah, and the motion that was in our report, that was an old one, is that
That
correct?
was an old previous version.
Yeah, and so today's action, we have to approve, because it's different.
Yeah, correct. It's an amended board motion.
Okay, so do we approve the amended motion?
Yes, that would be our request to approve the amended board motion.
Okay.
Daniel, did you give me a copy of the new one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A quick question. The $10,000 that have been identified, those are for design services of the curb ramp.
Correct.
Is construction of the curb ramp included?
No, construction is not included, and Council District 4 is in the process of looking into where the funds for those construction would be coming from.
Okay, and the intention would be that street services then does the curb ramp?
No, so right now we do have our North Outfall Supervision Unit 35 project is in construction right now. So the goal is to include the construction of the crosswalk and the curb ramp into that project.
Okay, understood. Okay, I don't have any other questions or issues. Any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 6 forward and forthwith
As amended,
as amended?
yeah.
Got it, thank you. Thank you for that catch. As amended.
Second, and then, by the way, we will put this in the public record. Okay. Thank you.
So
It's VP.
I did a first. Dr. VP second. Ms. Cole, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Vega to move item number 6 forward and forthwith.
We'll tabulate the vote beginning with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis
Davis, aye.
and Commissioner Corsair.
Aye.
All ayes, item number 6 is adopted and carries forthwith as amended.
As amended. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. So, for this, and Mr. Arrington and the team, thank you for bringing this up.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 7. This is a AFE for Tech Street LLC. Bureau of Engineering and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $22,844.91 for encumbrance for payment for on-site license for online services and products, including engineering codes and standards for the period of October 22nd, 2023 to October 22nd, 2024. And this morning, we have Mr. Wen here. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Jin Wen from Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division. This item is to request the board to approve and execute authority for expenditure in the amount of $22,844.91 to pay Tech Streets LLC for providing BOE online reference library for the period of October 22nd, 2023 to October 22nd, 2024. The funding is from the Sewer Construction and Maintenance Fund. We have been using this online library since at least 2012. All BOE staff and a few inspectors from Bureau of Contract Administration have access to it. This annual subscription provides 105 current codes and standards from 17 governing national and international organizations. A lot of these codes and standards are federal and state mandatory design and testing standards that our projects that needs to follow and show compliance with. This online library is being using daily by staff and essential for our operation. So we recommend the board to approve and execute this authority for the expenditure. That concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any question you may have.
Thank you for that, Mr. Wen. I don't have any questions, colleagues. Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 7 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Ms. Cole, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 7 forward and forthwith.
We'll tabulate the vote beginning with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsair.
Aye.
All ayes, item number 7 is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wen. Have a good day. All right, we're just gonna move something out of order. I'm gonna take item number 9, Mr. Bingaman, status update on major upcoming street improvement projects from the Bureau of Street Services. Mr. Bingaman, it's almost there. We're almost here, Friday.
Yes. Good morning, President Garcia,
Thank you so much.
board members, and board representatives. My name is Paul Bingaman. I'm here with Street Services Renewal Division, Streets LA. This information is being provided to keep the public informed and upcoming resurfacing projects
For future.
to minimize the impact on the community as well as delays. For additional information or concerns, you can contact the coordinating section for the Street Renewal Department at 213-847-3200. The following major street project is scheduled for the Valley region during the week of February 18th through February 24th, 2024. On Saturday, February 17th through Sunday, February 25th, 2024, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will begin cold milling and paving Reseda Boulevard from Parthenia Street to Roscoe Boulevard, CD 12 in the Northridge South Council Pavement Preservation Program Fund. Monday, February 12th through Friday, February 23rd, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we will begin cold milling and paving Nordhoff Street from Luis Ave to Zelza Ave in CD 12 Northridge East and Northridge South Council Pavement Preservation Fund. Additionally, we will provide an update on our 23-24 pavement preservation program. During the week of February 18th through February 24, 2024, The Valley Region and Metro Regions will complete 9 projects for a total of 8 lane miles. The press releases were distributed and notifications have been issued. Streets LA has coordinated with the council offices to assist in the outreach to stakeholders. We have coordinated with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available at the Streets LA website using the resurfacing open projects icon. And this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bingaman. Given the projected rain, we would still be doing this work if it rains?
We'll put it off because we've been assisting maintenance with land removal, with mudslide removals and things. So provided that happens again this weekend, we'll put it off for another weekend and continue. It'll be in my next report.
Okay, understood. Any questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Thank you so much. Again, have a good weekend.
You guys have a good one.
You too. All right, colleagues, that is our, we only have an administrative item left, which is item number 8, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council Districts 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 14, and 15. Sidewalk Repair Program Package number 69, access request, acceleration sites. Work order number E1909082. For an estimate amount of $2,424,449. Bid receipt date will be Wednesday, March 20th, 24. Is there a second to my motion to adopt this item? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Ms. Cole, there's a first by me and a second by Dr. Davis to adopt item number 8.
We'll tabulate the vote beginning with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corsan. All ayes, and item number 8 is adopted and carries forthwith.
Very well, thank you for that. I just, is that the end of our voting items, Ms. Cole?
That is the end for the regular meeting.
Got it. Given that said, it is 11:24 and this meeting is now officially adjourned. Colleagues, we will have a management meeting. We will take a short break right now and resume in the conference room at 12 o'clock. All right?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, and last announcement, we will have a special agenda on regular agenda. Okay. On Wednesday, 21st. Just for everybody's knowledge, if anybody was waiting for the special today, we will not open the special today. We have moved it to Wednesday, February 21st, and it will not be a special, it will be part of our regular agenda items. With that said, it is now 11:25 and this meeting is officially adjourned, and management meeting will take place starting at 12 in the conference room. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend and enjoy the long weekend at home. Thank you, everyone.